Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and welcome to the BoxHard Podcast.
Hello, everyone. This is Mikey Garcia.
This the monster from the swamps, Regis Rougarou Prograis.
Hey, what's up? This is King Carlos Molina, former IBF World Champ.
This is Michael, the Bounty Hunter, 2012 Olympian and your people's champ.
This is Charlie Edwards, flyweight champion of the world.
This is Fast Eddie Chambers, and you're listening to the BoxHard Podcast with my main man, Joey Coastman.
Hello everybody and welcome to episode 231 of the BoxHard Podcast. I'm your host Joey Coastman. I'm riding solo this week. It's just me, myself, and I know I as Sumra. Obviously, it's a crisis that the world is going through right now with the coronavirus situation and stuff like that. Lots and lots of fights falling through. Therefore, a lot of fighters are a little bit hard to reach at the minute. You know, a lot of them are just quarantining, having family time, and are totally unsure whether or not their fights will end up going ahead. So rather than getting a bunch of guests on that won't be sure if they're actually fighting, I decided to do something a little bit different. We're going to have just the one guest on this week's show. It's going to be the former IBF Bantamweight World Champion Stuart Hall. It is going to be a lengthy podcast. I know a lot of people are starved of podcasts right now, because a lot of podcasts as well are just stopping through this period because, again, there's not really much to talk about. There's nothing to review. There's nothing to preview. All I'm going to really do is, just read out the latest news, and then I'm going to bring in guest number one, the former IBF World Champion Stuart Hall. The interview will be around about 90 minutes, so like I say, quite a lengthy podcast. And then after that, I'll come in with the ending of the show, and that'll be all. So just going to go over the brief little bits of news that I do have. Obviously, Usyk against Chisora, that seems to be on as it stands. It's May 23rd. We know that there's been some kind of announcement in the UK that, major sporting events and stuff like that won't be taking place throughout the month, March and April. It hasn't yet gone on to May, so as it stands, Usyk against Chisora is one of the safe cards at the minute. Obviously, the cards that were supposed to take place last week, like Shakur Stevenson's card and like Michael Conlan's card that was supposed to take place this Tuesday, both got postponed. We know that. Zelfa Barrett has parted ways with Queensbury Promotions and Frank Warren, but he's signed now with Matchroom Boxing. That's a good signing for them. Obviously, Zelfa Barrett, a brilliant fighter, a real bright future. I remember seeing him lose to Ronnie Clark in his sole defeat, but a bright future he has nonetheless. It's a fight, though, that I kind of wanted for Archie Sharp, but it seems like now they're both with rival promoters, it doesn't look like that's ever going to happen. Again, lots and lots of cards have been postponed and stuff like that. The 28th of March card at the Coventry Sky Dome with Shakan Pitters against Chad Sugden won't be happening. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen there, because again, Craig Richards was supposed to be boxing Shakan Pitters and he couldn't fight because he wasn't well. I'm wondering if Chad Sugden is actually going to end up getting a shot. When it gets rescheduled, will he get a shot or will he not? Because by that time, Craig Richards might be well again. I'm not quite sure what the situation will be there. Saturday, the 25th of April as well, at the National Sports Centre in Crystal Palace, Alex Dilmagani was set to top a bill there, so that one's off as well. That's two Hennessy Promotions cards that have been postponed to hopefully later dates. Maryland, April 17th, that show has been cancelled. Regis Prograis against Maurice Hooker, that one was a bill topper, a great fight at 140. Obviously, we had Regis Prograis on the show a couple weeks ago, and again, like I said, there's no real point getting other boxers on that are set to fight within the next couple months, because their fights more than likely won't be taking place. So what's really the point? Top Rank, again, a couple of cards that they have cancelled. There's been quite a few of them. Obviously, they've postponed their events as well. I think there's quite a few actually there. I can't remember off the top of my head which ones and stuff like that, but again, Matchroom have postponed their Newcastle show, which had Lewis Ritson against Miguel Vasquez. That one I think has been put off as well, and Terry Harper against Natasha Jonas. That one's off as well, and the hotly anticipated David Avanesian versus Josh Kelly at the O2. That one's off, which is a real shame. We also know that Dubois versus Joyce, that card has been cancelled. I think they've moved it though to Saturday, July the 11th, still at the O2 Arena. I believe the tickets for the first fight, which was set to be April 11th, will still be valid for July 11th. So if you hold on to your ticket, you'll be able to get into the rescheduled date. But again, it's really unclear at this stage if that will even be able to go ahead. You know, things are seeming to get worse with this coronavirus stuff. Which card was it? May the 2nd, Josh Taylor again. He was supposed to be defending his 2 world titles against his opponent in Glasgow, May the 2nd. Like I say, that one's been postponed as well. So that really is all the boxing news. You know, it's all bad news. Everything's been cancelled and stuff like that. Like I say, there's not too much to speak about. I've really gone over the news there. Nothing to review, nothing to preview. We're bringing you a lengthy interview in just a few seconds. What I do want to say, though, if anyone's got any topics that you'd like myself or Ayaz or even Eddie Chambers, perhaps, to discuss on next week's show, then please feel free to send some suggestions in, you know, because providing there's no real news or anything over the weekend and stuff, then we're going to have absolutely nothing to speak about next week. I will, though, try to get another guest on for a lengthy interview just to give you something to listen to over this very tough period. But like I say, if you've got any suggestions for any topics that I should discuss or anything like that, please, we need some suggestions just to fill the time on these podcasts and stuff like that. You know, it'll be greatly appreciated. We need some topics to discuss and stuff like that. We've got the time to do it. So send in your suggestions on Twitter at BoxHard Podcast. But that is all the talking from myself. It's now time to welcome our first and only guest on this week's podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the former IBF Bantamweight World Champion. It is, of course, Mr. Stuart Hall. Stu, welcome to the show, my friend.
How are you doing, mate? You okay?
Very good, my friend. Very good. So, Stuart, we should begin with, you know, a typical question, really. Your boxing journey. Where did it initially begin? What was the earliest memory you have of, you know, perhaps putting on a pair of gloves for the first time, even?
Yeah. I remember. Well, I'm 40 years old now, but which is flew. But I was a bit of a naughty kid at school, getting into trouble. And it was my dad took me, I think, when I was about 9 years old. I was always getting into fights at school. And he took me down a gym in Darlington, where I'm from, a local gym at Largefield Street. It's not there anymore. It's been knocked down. But Lol Degnan was the bloke who ran it. So, yeah, that was my earliest memory.
And of course, you know, you turned pro relatively late. I think you were about 28 when you turned pro. What were you kind of getting up to, like I say, from the first minute you put on a pair of gloves right up to 28? Were you boxing amateur? What did your life consist of?
Yeah, I boxed, like I said, my first amateur fight when I was 11. I remember that. I lost it, actually. It was from a lad from Bermontos in Leeds. Danny Wallace, his name was. Anyway, it's mad how you remember things like that. But yeah, I was 11 years old then. Boxed all the way through the amateur. I think I had about 100 fights as an amateur. Wow. Probably won about 60 or something. But I got ripped off a lot. I remember I got a few bad decisions back in them days, and I used to come home and my dad used to say to me, "Oh, Dick Turpin again, son," and I didn't really understand what he meant till I was older. So he always used to come in and say I've been robbed, and but yeah, boxed up until I was like you said, all the amateur fights. But I went to a couple of different gyms. But I ended up going off the rails a bit, to be honest with you. I ended up moving to Ibiza when I was 19. and I was in the B for 5 years, which was on the road to ruin, really. But it was really good times. I had really good memories in my life. I had some manic, very, very good times, met some very good people, but in life terms, it was I was on a bad path.
Yeah, certainly not. Not the way most world champions kind of start.
No,
their
definitely.
adulthood.
Yeah.
But you know, you made your pro debut April 26th, 2008. Do you remember kind of having any pre-fight nerves, perhaps some anxiousness before walking out as a pro for the first time? Do you remember it much?
Yeah, I remember my first fight. I remember I paid very little money for that fight, but I was. I think my first fight was. I'm sure it was 6 2-minute rounds, if I recall.
Right,
which people were saying, it's 6 rounds for your first fight. But it was only 2-minute rounds. You know what I mean? But it was against. I think it was against Abdul Abughal or something.
Yes.
I can't remember. I can't. Yeah. Well, he was one of my friends, Oscar Hall, used to box. Michael Hall. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he boxed at Sheffield. He was a really good amateur, Michael. He boxed Ricky Allen and that in the amateurs. He was saying to me, he said, that's a tough fight, that, for your first fight. I can't believe they're getting you somebody like that. And obviously he was a journeyman, but he was a very experienced journeyman. He'd had a few wins. I remember it was just a local. It was engineers club actually in Dartland on North Road. I was more excited than anything. But I always get nervous anyway. I've been nervous in every amateur fight, in every professional fight. So the nerves I was just used to the nerves. But yeah, I remember I had the nerves. But I went out and boxed well, boxed good, won my first fight. But I didn't turn professional thinking I was going to do anything. I didn't get an England vest for being an amateur, but I beat all the top lads in amateurs. But I just had a funny feeling it was a bit cliquey in the amateurs. You had to be up there to get on the England team or something, and it upset me a bit. Like, I just thought to myself, you know what, I'm not getting no younger. This was when I was still amateur before I rubbed the amateurs in, and I said, look, I'm not getting England vest. I'm gonna have a go turning professional. I don't want to be one of these old men in the pub saying, I wish I'd done that, I should have done that. I said, I'm just going to go and give it a go. I want to give it a go and see what happens. And that's what I did. I went and turned pro, but then I think I got contacted off the England boxing saying, would I go down to Sheffield to a training camp? So I put a letter in the Boxing News about that. I didn't get a call up and didn't get a vest, and I thought I should have at least got a box for England once. I beat all these top lads who boxed for England loads of times. And then all of a sudden I get a letter saying, do I want to go down to a training camp? Because obviously they must have seen that letter in the Boxing News. And I just thought, just keep on the same path. I just thought, I'm not going back amateur. So I did want a vest, but I never got one. And I ended up turning professional.
And thank God you did. Like I say, a lot of they say things, all things happen for a reason. Perhaps that was the case here. Obviously, you won your first 3 fights. In your 4th fight, you had that draw against Stuart McFadden. What do you remember from that fight? That. Should you have got the nod?
All right. Oh, I remember that 100%. Yeah. I won that fight hands down. I beat. It was on his show. It was called the Burnley Banger. I remember him, Stuart McFadden. And it was at Bolt. It was on his show. Because I think early in my career, obviously, nobody thought I was going to ever do anything. I think people just thought, take him on the road. And I was just on the road, really. And I was just going on beating everyone. And that's where, obviously, I thought, actually, I think I'm all right at this. But that draw, even his own trainer come up after the fight and said, you won that fight. I'll never forget it. It was Steve Gray ref. I'm sure he refed and he judged it.
He did. Yeah,
Yes, he did. Yeah. We've had a few little encounters, me and Steve Gray, over the years, which I don't know if he likes me or what. But that was 100% my fight. I won that fight. Everybody, It was ridiculous how he even got the draw. I pummeled him all over the 6 rounds. He didn't, honestly, I don't know where they got the draw. Even his own trainer, but yeah, it wasn't a draw. I won that fight, but yeah, it was like. But then, obviously, then before a fight, I still didn't really know what the pros was all about. I was just fighting and just enjoying it, but I didn't really knew much of. I didn't think I was going to do anything. In all honesty, I didn't think I was going to go on and do what I did. Anyway, so that draw to me was. I just felt it's a draw. I didn't. You know what I mean? I didn't think. I wasn't like one of these Olympians who've come through, had 3 fights and had a draw, because then that would be a shock. But you know what I mean? You know where I'm coming from?
Yeah. Just taking each fight at a time, kind of thing, one at a time.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting to do anything, not even in my own head. But then when I was stopping people, I was actually, I think, I'm not sure what fight it was, but I went and boxed in Birmingham against an unbeaten. I think he was unbeaten. I don't know if he had 11 fights or 6 fights, but he was unbeaten. And
that was your second.
I got told
fight,
that I was.
Yeah.
Oh, was that the second? Yeah,
Dougie Walton.
Second,
Was,
yeah, well,
wasn't it?
Dougie Walton. Yeah, Dougie Walton. Yeah, that's the one. That's when I obviously I went down my second fight and boxed someone unbeaten. I wasn't meant to win.
No.
And I went down. I knocked him out. I stopped him, knocked him out, and I was thinking to myself, "Oh, I like this pro. I like this pro game. It's good. I think, you know what I mean. I'm hurting people, and I didn't realise I was hurting people because I wasn't in the amateurs. But yeah, I'm just glad I didn't turn pro.
But like I say, after that questionable draw, you gather another couple of wins over Anthony Hanna and Jason Thomas, and then I read something online, and you can correct me or tell me what exactly happened. But were you in a pub or something when you got the phone call to box Jason Thomas? After the Jason Thomas fight. No.
It was I boxed at Jason Thomas, and I'll tell you what I was at. I was at an unlicensed boxing show event. One of my friends was fighting. But I was drinking. Yeah, I had a pint of lager in my hand. And I think it was about either a few days or the week after I'd fought Jason Thomas. I'd had a pint, and then Mick Marlin rang me up and said, "Look, we could fight next Saturday, Friday. No, next Friday. 'Cause it was Friday fight night, wasn't it? Yeah. I remember that because the boxing was on Sky on Friday. He said, "We can box Martin Power. Martin Power, if you do you want to take the fight?" On Sky Sports, I said, "Oh, got Martin Power? Yeah, of course I do. Mate, Martin Power's former British champion." I thought, 100%, yes, I want that fight. And I put the pint down and I said to me, "Order me a soda and lime," and then a pint of soda and lime. And I'd only had maybe 2 pints, and that was the Saturday night. And I just got the water, soda and lime water, and started just drinking that down that straight away, trying to rehydrate myself because I'd had a couple of pints. But I was a little bit tipsy because obviously I was fit. I didn't really drink that much. And then the Sunday morning, I drove down to Leeds from Darlington and trained with Mick. I didn't even feel that too clever really because obviously I had a couple of pints and I get hangovers quite easy. So, but then I went down and got straight in the gym on the Sunday, done a session on the Sunday, and the following Thursday I had to drive to Kent for the weigh-in up that way somewhere. And we went down and I'll never forget it because Martin Poy. Was no title fight or anything, and I think I was about half a pound. I think the fight was made at 8. I think it was at 8.7 or something. It was bantam, but it was it was 8.7. I think it was 8.7.5. And he said, "Nah, make the weight." I said, "Oh, Matt." I said, "It's not even a." He went, "Nah, I'm 8.7. So I had to go downstairs and start skipping. That's the first real taste I got of having to make weight properly and beyond, you know what I mean, like trainers and other boxers, and because I thought it was just a fight, do you know what I mean? I thought, it's not for no title. I mean, half a pound. What's half a pound? But then I went down, skipped it off, done it. I come up and got on the scales. I made the weight, and it was. Do you know? I think that was wasn't that on the undercard of Tyson Fury and John McDermott, yeah. And look, God love Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is an absolute legend in my eyes for what he's done. But I recall that night. I didn't think he won that fight. It was crazy. I walked. I honestly thought John McDermott won that fight by quite a lot. I watched it, but that was because there was a load of travelling community watching it. Tyson's lads and John McDermott's lads. And I was saying, look, it's going to kick off here. Come on, I'd had me win. I was happy. I think I stopped Martin Powell in the 8th round or something. But
round 10.
That was my first. That was my first big fight. No, it was round 8, and it was only an 8. It was only an 8 rounder. Yeah. And I said to my lass, come on. I said, listen, let's go back to the hotel. Six might kick off in here. I said, Tyson Fury's he's lost that fight. He hasn't won it. She said, nah, I want to wait for the result. I said, because when the fight had finished, and they were just waiting for the cards, and I said, come on. I said, it's going to kick off. I said, come on, let's go. I said, I'll meet you outside then. I said, I just left the mate. I said, go on, you stay in there. I'll meet you out here. And I was meeting in the car anyway. She come out. She come out. He won. I went, no, who John? She went, no, Tyson Fury won. I went, you're joking. She went, no, he won the fight. And they were staying in the same hotel because it was a Frank Maloney. Now obviously Kelly Maloney, but it was a Frank Maloney show, and obviously he was out promoter at the time.
Incredible. Like I say, just to get the timeline right, so you boxed on the Friday, previous to this against Jason Thomas. That was the 4th of September. Got the win. The next night you're out having a beer, no harm in the world, and then a phone call comes in. Can you box in 6 days' time against a former British champion? A massive step up. You go there to Essex, and you stop him, like I say, in the 8th and final round. Unbelievable. After that, of course, you pick up another win before then challenging for the British title, vacant at the time, against the former British and European champion Ian Napper. June the 4th, the date for that one in the Northwest. Of course, this would go on to be the night you become British champion. Just talk us through that fight and, of course, the feeling that you must have felt afterwards.
Well, that was just amazing. So I was getting, obviously I was getting Sky Sports interviews and coming out to. I was a roofer at the time. Then I was roofing. I was roofing with my friend Wayne Carrick. I was roofing every day, but I was finishing roofing at like 2:00 and driving all the way down to Leeds. But then in the end, my dad started driving me at Leeds because I was driving. I was all over the road, so I was that tired, trying to drive. And after work until 2 and going down training. On the way back, I was all right because I was buzzing off the training, but on the way down, it was pretty dangerous. It was like nearly falling asleep and that. So my dad ended up taking me down to Leeds in the end. But yeah, that night with Ian Napper, it was brilliant. I walked in with a saxophone player. To play a tune walking in, it was a great night. But it was very hot that night. I think that Ian Napper had a bit of an excuse here. It was hot and that, but very, very tactical fight. I was just trying my hardest to win him and all that. I thought it was a very close fight. I thought I was either one round or up or one round down when he actually didn't come out for round 8. But apparently he was 1, 2, and 3 rounds up on 3 different scorecards. So all he had to do was get through the fight. And obviously on the 8th round when he stopped, all he had to do was practically get through the fight. He probably would have won it. But I'm glad he never. Obviously, I must have just disheartened him that much and just kept on top of him, and he didn't come out for round 8, which was. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. I remember saying on Sky Sports, and you can probably find it somewhere on YouTube, the fight, this is my world title, this is my world title, pointing down to the Lonsdale belt. I just couldn't believe it. It was such a journey. It was them British title days. They were great nights. Looking back at my career, especially for me, the crowds and the people who followed me, it was just brilliant.
Yeah, like I say, unbelievable. I did a little rewatch over it the other day. Ian Napper was a lot better than I feel like he kind of got his credit.
Yeah.
Just a very close fight. You're honest to say
such a great fighter.
Yeah. And like I say, he didn't come out for round 9. It was. In your next fight, that's where you get the rematch with Martin Power. This time you stop him in 10. Was that win basically a way of saying, the first one wasn't a fluke by any means?
Wasn't a fluke. Yeah, that was, because that's when I started actually believing in myself a little bit more then, thinking, Do you know what I did think? I was speaking to one of my friends and at the time, and he was like, "Look, he was like he's an older friend, and he was saying, look, you've got to win this. You've got to win that Lonsdale belt outright. Now you've got to keep that belt." That's what he was saying. He was giving me advice, saying, "You've got to defend. You need to keep that belt." And I was like thinking, "Whoa, do you know what I mean? I could actually keep this belt. I could actually go on and defend it." So that was my goal, really, just to try and. I wasn't thinking at all higher than British level. I wasn't in my head thinking I was going to win anything when I turned professional. But I just thought to myself, I think I can actually try and win this now. I can keep this belt, and it's in my house now in the cabinet. I've got it. You know, it was amazing. But yeah. I just went on and thought, right, yeah, I can go and defend this and try and keep it. But Mind Power, it was that was just like. I'm believing in myself that first one wasn't a fluke, and I boxed. Yeah, I enjoyed that fight. And it was more. I think he was more ready for the fight this time. He was a lot tougher, but he was taking some serious shots in that. So the ref was good, like in his right mind, doing the right thing to stop the fight. I think it was round 10 he stopped it.
Yeah, and like I say, you know, in the end, Stu, when you look back over your career, you wasn't really known as this big puncher or anything, but a great stat is that, you know, you stopped Ian Napper in winning the actual title, and all three of your defences ended in stoppage as well, you know, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Obviously, the first defence, like you say, with Mind Power there, the second successful defence, a TKO in 7 rounds against Gary Davies in the MEN arena, and then... you know, your third defence against John Donnelly, where you won it outright, a TKO in the 5th round. Again, as you know, not many people really become British champion, but even less get to win the belt outright and get it for keeps. You know, what was that like for you?
Oh, that was just amazing. Do you know what? I just remember that when I was saying this is my world title. I'm not sure if I was saying that. I think I was saying that when I won it outright, actually, yeah. That was obviously it was quite a few years ago, but yeah, when I won that against John Donnelly, that's when I said this is my world title. That's not what I thought it was when I first won the British title. It wasn't. It was when I won it outright because I knew I'd kept it. I knew it was mine, and it was just brilliant. That belt for keeps. It was, and a lot of people do. I think in boxing now. They're forgetting, obviously, because of all the belts high up and that, and they're forgetting the heritage of that Lonsdale belt. You know, like that, how far it goes back and that, and this day and age, I think they win the Lonsdale belt, win the British title, and then just move straight on to an Intercontinental, get rated in the top 10, then just try and win world titles. But yeah, it's about money. Of course, it's about money. It's about supporting your family and supporting yourself, but I think a lot of these fighters nowadays are just overlooking that British title, and it's the best belt out of the lot.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you mentioned obviously the heritage. Not only that, but just the way it looks. It's the best looking belt in the world, in my opinion. You know.
Yeah, definitely it is. It's my favourite.
You are right, though. You know, a lot of people these days are skipping past that, and you know, they end up. A lot of them end up paying the price. You know, a prime
they
example.
end up coming stuck.
A prime example, I say, Stu, is Josh Warrington. Completely did it traditionally. You know, went through all the belts, British champion, Commonwealth, European, and look at him now. Some people saying he's the best featherweight in the world. Listen,
Josh Warrington, there's some stories. Me and Josh have had some absolute wars in sparring. You can ask him, if you get to ask him, you can ask him. Back in the day when I was like a lot higher than what he was at the time, I went to his fight when he was fighting for the English title. I remember the first time I sparred him, he was like banging his chest and that, and I was like, calm down, what's the matter with you banging your chest? And he's like, it's just people thinking like they're hurting me and they're not, you know what I mean? He was like, because he was that tough. And me and him have had 10 round, wars back in the day. Wars, like 2 Mexicans. His dad used to bring him to mixed loads of times to spar, and we had some really, really, and I know. And back then he wasn't a big puncher, but he was just relentless. You know what I mean? He was relentless in sparring. He was always there, and it was a real tough spar. They were brilliant spars, but I knew how tough Josh was. But he worked so hard as well. He was, like you say, I think he was a dental technician back then, and he was. He just worked so hard. He never cheated. He'd always done his runs. He was so dedicated. Now look what it's paying off for him now, which it should.
Absolutely. And after winning the Lonsdale belt outright, you made the jump. You moved up to challenge for the European and Commonwealth titles against the then champion Jamie McDonnell. This, of course, is where you'd suffer your first loss as a professional on points over 12 at the Doncaster Dome. Tell us about that one.
Yeah, that was a great fight, but in all honesty, it was my first 12-round fight, I think, as in going 12 rounds.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That was the first time I went the distance. So, to be honest with you, when I look back, I think I was he was a lot more experienced than me because he'd done a few 12-rounders himself, Jamie. And I started off brilliant in that fight. I think while watching it back, I was like after 6 rounds, I was like 1-3 with the bookies. I win the fight in the bookies. Well, saying that, I never get it wrong, but sometimes do. But he started coming back into the fight. But I watched that fight loads of times. It was so close, I thought. You know what I mean? It was one of them fights where he didn't win it proper massively convincingly, but it was a real close fight where he just edged it. But it was my first loss. I was gutted. I was actually going away the next day to get married, which was funny enough. I was going away to Mauritius the day after to get married, which dampened it a little bit, but I was trying not to think about when I was away. Yeah, I went to Mauritius the next day. I had to be in the country for 4 days, got married in Mauritius, and then we flew off to the Seychelles for our honeymoon. That was me purse gone. But like you say, I'm one of these. You know what I mean? Money's not there. Just things. I'm not one of these people. I live for the now, mate. Do you know what I mean? And I've had 40 years. I'm 40 now, and I've had an absolute great life. I've had a better life than some people have 3 times over in 3 lifetimes in 40 years. You know what I mean? So I've had a great time.
And like I say, after that fight, you bounced back with a win before challenging once again for the European title. If I'm not mistaken, I think Jamie McDonnell vacated the belt. That's why it was vacant at the time of this fight here between yourself and Lee Haskins. When you think about it, and it kind of just, it reminded me looking back at this, we had some really good bantamweights here in Britain at the time. We'd never know that, yourself, Jamie McDonnell, Lee Haskins would all eventually go on to become world champions. But, this fight here, a loss to Haskins. Haskins was your real kind of proper good southpaw. I think you'd only boxed one southpaw prior to that. But, I think that guy was Jason Thomas, I think, was a southpaw.
I'm not sure.
But,
I can't remember. But
the
when I lost to the Haskins, looking back now I'm finished. Now I'm retired, mate. Like I think when I look back, I think if I had got a bit of help with the mental side of boxing, because I didn't. In all honesty, I didn't really believe in myself that much. Where when I look back. Realistically, Lee Haskins is a smooth operator, but he didn't really hurt me now. Do you know what I mean? I should have done a lot better there, but I didn't believe in myself. I was nervous going in the fight. I thought I lost the fight, but a few people were saying I'd won the fight, but I thought I'd lost the fight. But I didn't really do much. I didn't really do much to win the fight. I didn't throw that many punches. It was awkward, but. Practically that fight, I could say I just threw it away. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them fights where you look back and you think you didn't leave it all in the ring. Do you know what I
mean? Yeah, for sure. And at that point, you'd obviously become a British champion, won the belt outright, but then failed at European level twice. Did you perhaps think you'd hit your ceiling in any way at that point?
Yeah, well, after Haskins fight, I think I was going to wrap it up. I was gonna wrap it up, but I think a few friends and family was saying, look, just keep at it, you know what I mean? Keep at it. And but that's exactly what I did. I think did I go on and fight for a Commonwealth title after that against
Josh Whale, I think. That's right.
Yeah, Josh. He's still about now, Josh.
Yeah.
He's like a Jewish Barry, isn't he? Well, yeah. But I went and boxed for the Commonwealth title once. Then I picked up a sponsor as well. My good friend Charles Burwood. He started sponsoring me, which was helping me with money and that. So he was giving me like a bit of money every week, a wage, so I could continue and keep the dream alive. And if it wasn't for Charles and things like that, I don't think I'd ever done what I did. But like you say, I won the Commonwealth title against Josh Whale. I thought I won that fight quite convincingly.
Yeah, you did. I mean, even though I think he had 4 losses at the time, 2 by stoppage, but no one had actually, outpointed him, in my opinion, that widely. But for 36 minutes as well, it was a 12-rounder, obviously.
Yeah. And I thought he was, in all honesty, I watched videos and fights with him and like interviews and stuff. I thought, well, he's going to be really, really tough, hard as nails. He was tough, but he didn't hurt me as much as what I thought he was going to. You know what I mean? When I got in there and I was taking his punches, I thought, oh, this he's not what I thought he was going to be. And I boxed well, won the fight, and won the Commonwealth title. And that's when I thought to myself, I'm still in this game. I was enjoying it again.
And then we now embark on the year 2013, a year I'm sure you'll remember very, very well. At the start of the year, you weren't world ranked with the IBF, but in May 2013 you boxed for the vacant IBF Intercontinental title against Sergio Perales. Obviously, he was a former world champion, wasn't he, Perales? Was he?
I'm not sure, but I know one thing for sure. I looked at his record and he had a great record. I think he'd only been beat once or twice. But he'd had about 16 knockouts out of 26 wins or something. It was a 60-odd% knockout ratio, and I was thinking, he must be able to punch. But then got to the weigh-in, I towered over him. I thought, well, he doesn't look now, do you know what I mean? I thought, he's not going to work me, Joe. And then, I'll be honest, honestly, I didn't really make that weight very well. I was a bit daft to making the weight. I had to cut a bit too much weight, and which was a bit daft and my own fault. But when I got in the ring with him and I got hit with one of his left hands straight away, it buzzed me straight away. Like, I thought, my God, this man can punch. Every shot that Perales hit me. But everyone was saying after it, oh no, he never looked bothered once. He didn't look bothered once. Believe you me, I was. I remember, I think it was round 7. Round 7, I come back after round 7, it hit me, and I sat down on the stool, and my eyes, like, I was totally blurred. When you're looking at something, everything around it, like, say you were looking at a spot, everything around it was blurry. Right? So I was like looking at my trainer Mick in the corner. I could see his face, but everything around him was a blur. And even I quickly shut my eyes, like as if I was blinking, and it was inside my head. And I thought, but I'm not. And I didn't tell Mick this. I told my friends and that after my family and that, but I didn't. I thought I'm not. I was doing all right, and he was like, "You've got to win these last 4 or 5 rounds. You know what I mean? You're down." Going on, but I couldn't even hardly see because I don't know. He must have concussed me. I'd done something with that punch. And then for round 8, round 9, blurry. I don't know how I got through them rounds. Round 8, round 9. I think I come back at this after round 9. It was 3 rounds of that. After I thought I was going to say something to make. I was going to say, "Look, I can't see. This is getting bad." And I sat down end of round 9, around 9 or 10. I can't actually remember, but it went. I could see. Yeah, the blur went. The blur had stopped. So I don't know what the heck that was, but I didn't tell anybody. You know what I mean?
Thank God.
But I can tell people now because I'm all right and it's over. But then I went on. I boxed really well the last 4 rounds, and I got the nod. But he's the hardest puncher I've ever faced in my full career. Perales, he really did punch hard.
Yeah, I'd mistaken because he wasn't a world champion, but he beaten a former world champion after a couple fights after he boxed you. I think he beat Raul Martinez. I think he stopped him. So that was where my confusion came from. But like I say, I want to talk about the the big fight, the Malinga fight, in a sec. But just before we get onto that, like I say, the beginning of the year, you weren't world ranked. All of a sudden, you box for a regional title, you win, you get world ranked, you get a shot at the vacant world title, and you win, and then you're world champion. I'm guessing 2013 must have flown by, because not many people obviously get world ranked and then get a world title shot in their very next fight. It all happened so quickly. It must have flown right by before we get onto the fight itself.
Yeah, it was just crazy. But like you say, he was ranked. I think he was ranked number 5,
number 3,
and I beat number 3 or something. And then I shot up, and then but I think James McDonald had won it, and he got stripped of it, which was sad. But if the shoe was on the other foot, and he was going to get the shot, and I was getting stripped, then I think he would have done the exact same. And that's what happened. I got the shot. I got his whole title, and I didn't think it was going to go through, to be honest with you, because I think Jamie was with Eddie at the time, and Eddie was trying to put stops to it and stuff, and which he would, obviously, as he was his promoter at the time. But I was just in awe, thinking, God, I'm going to get this world title shot, like from where I've come from the little skirny from the council estate in Darlington. You know what I mean? Come from that to fight for a world title. It's just dreams, isn't it? It's just dreams. Now I'm looking back on it and talking about it, which obviously I'm retired now. I don't really talk much about it. And but yeah, it was just a dream come true. It was brilliant.
And talk me through it. I remember watching the fight on Box Nation at the time, December 21st, 2013, against Vusi Malinga, IBF number 3. Obviously, you always had the reputation, and rightly so, of being tough as nails. Vusi Malinga was a tough South African southpaw, and we just really saw two tough guys give it their all. You boxed like a man possessed that night, and just talk me through it. Unbelievable. Right before Christmas as well.
I know. Yeah, it was. It was just an amazing night. Like, but I had trained really hard with that. I had, one of my best pals, Johnny Harrison. He was strength and conditioning coach. I'd never really done strength and conditioning out like that, and we got him in for that fight. I mean, when he was a close friend, but he put me through my paces. Mick Marsden was getting me in the spar and my boxing side of things, and I trained so hard for it. But I did believe, I don't know, it must have been something inside me. I did believe I could win it, and I was looking, but there was negative parts of it when I was looking at his being in with Santa Cruz, and the people he'd fought and that, and just hearing the things what he was saying about me, saying he thought it's going to be an easy fight for him, it's going to be a walk in the park. And I was just thinking, obviously he's fought world level fighters, and so there was a bit of doubt in my head. But I don't know, like we say, we're in that changing room and walking out to where the big crowd. It's the first major event, boxing event, the first direct arena where Jeff Swanton's had some great nights. I just obviously walked out. We got in the ring. Glenn McCrory walked me out. I just thought, look, he was the last world champion in the Northeast 25 years ago. He's going to hand the baton over that night. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. And then, like you say, we got in the ring. I looked over the ring. In all honesty, the day before the weigh-in, I was scared because I looked at him and thought, oh my God, there's the size of him. He just looked ripped, massive. Just every muscle popping out of his body. I was just thinking, my God, he looks massive. And that was on the weigh-in. And then the day after, when we got in the ring, I was just looking across that ring. He just looked so big. And I just thought, my God, this is going to be tough. But then I was just like, say, I started off, because I think I was a slow starter, mate. And I'm a slow starter. And I went out there and I've just bossed that first round. And I've won that first round. And I think every fight I've won the first round in, I've actually went on and won the fight. But what a tough fight. I put him down in the third round. We've been working on left hook, right hand, because he was a southpaw and that. We've been working on that punch, and he went down and started in the other, so I can finish him here. But at that level, they're so tough. British level, he probably would have finished him, but just went on grueling, just got up every round. And then I remember some of my friends after the fight saying, "Look at that round, you looked absolutely knackered that round. You looked totally douched. At the end of every round, at the round of 6, you look finished." But you know what? When I look back to that fight, I was given everything, every minute of every round. And I think a few fights after that world title fight, I didn't do that. I didn't give it everything. I left things in the ring, but I gave it everything that night, and I won the fight. But I think, was it round 9 or something? My eye shut, or I think it was round 9 or 10, my eye actually shut. And the ref come over and he was like, "How many things?" And all up and that. And I was like, said 3, 2, and I was saying, "Please don't stop. I'm all right." And he was saying, like, I'll give you benefit of the doubt, Stu. And fair play to that ref, because if that was abroad, I would have got stopped. But like, I was still winning the fight. I was still throwing punches, but I couldn't see at all out that right eye. I think it was my right eye. I know on my left eye, I can't remember one of them. But it was totally shut. But when the last bell went, I knew I was world champion. I knew I'd won it. It was just an amazing night. But it was a really hard night.
Yeah, it was a hard night. Like I say, I mean, it was such a war. Would you say that, you know, that was perhaps the best fight of your career also, in terms of, you know, entertainment value as well?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Looking back on it, of course it was, it was the best fight of my career.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have to say that.
And like I say, the path you'd started on, you know, coming from where you come from, the years in Ibiza and stuff like that, just what did it really mean to achieve, you know, a lot of people's boyhood dream in boxing? You know, a lot of people are right on track, you know, guys that have had the amateur vest, guys that have been at the Olympics and stuff like that. What did it mean to you to then become world champion from where you'd come from?
Oh, it was all, like you say, it all happens because time goes so fast. It all happens so quick. It was an amazing thing to do. It was just brilliant, like, because I could have went down such a different path. Well, I was on that path, but then I changed it. Boxing, it literally saved my life, and it did, and it's given me the opportunity to do things what I'm doing now and stuff. It was absolutely brilliant, like, to win that world title. It was brilliant just to win the Lonsdale belt, you know what I mean? Like, just to look back, I'm in the record books. I was the oldest bantamweight world champion ever until Rigondeaux took it off me the other week. Rigondeaux won it, didn't he? Bantamweight 39, wasn't he? 39. I was 33 years, 9 months. I only know that because my wife bought me a book for Christmas, and I opened it up, and she had like a marker in it, and I opened it up, and there's a picture of me, golden oldie, in the says the oldest world champions, and then went down all the weights, and obviously bantamweight, and there's me. Well, Rigondeaux being the next one to make.
Oh, that's cool. That's incredibly cool. Like I say, your first defence came against Martin Ward. It ended prematurely after just 2 rounds due to Ward getting cut. The fight ended in a technical draw. Was that a frustrating one? Yeah, it was. It was very frustrating. Like, I'd sold so many tickets for that fight. I think that would have been if it would have went on, because I would have won that fight 100%. I started really believing in myself, and I was like a man possessed that night. I wasn't going to lose that fight. I was bossing it, but then obviously got cut, and it was such a letdown for all the fans who paid for tickets and stuff. I think, you know, like, technical draw. It was, I think it was what, 5,000. 5,000 was there that night, I think. So
we done really well, but yeah, it was a downer, like.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't realise, but a good friend of mine was on the undercard, Eddie Chambers. He was on the undercard, strangely enough. Yeah, heavyweight.
Right, yeah.
But like I say, 2013 was a year you'll never forget. In some ways, I'm guessing 2014 was a year you kind of wish you could forget. 3 fights that year, obviously the technical draw, then the loss of your world title to Paul Butler, who, if I remember correctly, moved up in weight to box you that night. It ended in a split decision. Did you think you'd done enough that night, Stu?
I would not fight. I thought I would not fight. Everyone else thought I would not fight. That's where politics comes in the boxing. Do you know what, though? That was a fight where I could have made that fight so much easier. He got into my head. Him and his dad, they both got into my head, Paul Butler. Just like, he couldn't hurt me. Like, I was like, I've sparred him before. It's when I look back, this is the thing about, you know, when Tyson Fury's on about mental health and stuff, like, I've never really known about, but I think that played a big part in my boxing career. Like, I wish I didn't have the people around me to speak to me about, but like confidence, and I didn't have no confidence. If I'd have fought every person like I fought Rushi Malinga that night, I would have done so much better in my boxing after I won the world title. But I didn't. Like, I went in the Paul Butler fight, I didn't do anything for 5 rounds. Didn't do nothing. Hardly anything. And I've sparred him, and he didn't have the power to hurt me, but certain things happened, and obviously I started that fight practically from round 6, and I still thought I won the fight, but I maybe didn't do enough early on, do you know what I mean? But one judge gave it to me by 2 rounds, or so. One judge gave it a win by a round or 2 rounds, and one judge gave it a win by 6 rounds, a woman judge, which was... she must have been brown envelope or something, I don't know, because he didn't win the fight by 6 rounds. How can one judge give it to 2 and one give it by 6? And he was, like you say, he was under Frank Warren, and Paul Butler was there the night of my world title fight, so I think Frank Warren, and that was on the Box Nation, I think Frank Warren and that knew what they wanted for Paul Butler down the line, but I could have made that fight a lot easier, man. I could have been easy, but I didn't, and let's sift some butts in it, but...
Yeah, no.
I lost the world title fight. I was quitted, but it was like, when I look back now, it was a mental side of things for me, and obviously I didn't have certain things around me what I needed when I look back.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of drew you into his type of fight, really. I felt in a lot of that. I'm not saying you didn't have success doing that, but again, I feel like you kind of, threw away your...
You couldn't... Yeah, I did throw away. You're right. You're 100%, mate. You're right. I should have just walked in there and bossed him straight away, and he wouldn't have even went 8 rounds with me. But I didn't. I just didn't do anything. It was out. But they got in my head mentally at the press conferences and stuff. To be honest with you, they did. Him and his dad, and the way they would talk, and I was nowhere. And I let them get in my head. And boxing is a mental game. Boxing is a mental game. 80% mentality, 100%. You know, I lost that fight before I even went in it.
Yeah, and after Butler won the title, he moved back down in weight. It was probably one of the worst decisions he ever made, by the way. But he vacated the belt, and then you got the chance to box in Monte Carlo for the vacant title once again against Randy Caballero, a guy that kind of has disappeared off the face of the earth a little bit.
Oh, no.
But
yeah.
Ultimately, Stuart, Randy came out victorious. And if I'm not mistaken, was that the first and last time you'd ever been dropped in a fight?
Do you know what, right? He caught me and I was square.
Yeah, you walked into a jab.
Yeah, and I got back up straight away. But yeah, that was... And I think that... But I think they even said after the fight, But what happened there is when I fought Randy Caballero, I went down to... I changed trainers. I think I needed a change, and I went down and spoke to Paddy Lynch, who's been about in the boxing game, I don't know how many years, 50 years. But he'd retired. He used to work... he'd had 9 British champions from Birmingham. he was massive. Paddy and Tommy Lynch in boxing. We used to work with so many people back in them days, and he was retired, Paddy. I went down and spoke to him, and he asked him if he'd help me, and he come out retirement early, which he didn't need to, because he was in his 70s, you know what I mean? He didn't need to help me, and he did. And then he got, obviously, Max McCracken, who was training Carl and Gamal Yafai, and I started training down there in Birmingham, and I went down there to stay and done a training camp away from my family. And that was really hard because I'd never really trained. I'd trained hard, but not like I'd trained down there twice a day and stuff. And it was really hard. But I tell you what, I didn't half up the game. If I'd stuck to what I was doing, I probably would have got stopped off Randy Caballero. Because I remember that fight. I thought I won that fight. I watched that fight back. I thought, even with the knockdown, I thought I was still done enough to win that fight. But I think the knockdown, and our friend Steve Gray was there that night. He gave him it by 6 or 7 rounds. It was a nap. And then he even said at breakfast, Paddy had to go up in the breakfast in the hotel the next morning. And he said, mate, I may have been a bit too, I can't remember his exact words, but he basically was saying like he'd maybe been a bit too harsh. That was it. That was the word. Of giving it by 6 rounds, but it was ridiculous. Like, he didn't win that fight by 6 rounds at all. But there's Steve Gray again. He gave that fight a draw against McFadden when everyone said he won his 4th fight. He just said, I don't know, might have had something against me. I don't know, but. That was that, but yeah, Randy Caballero, what a great fighter. But it was, I think he was expecting, even his trainer even said, come up and say after the fight to Paddy, he said, we were expecting that to be a 3-round job. He said, we watched his last fight against Butler and we thought 3 rounds max. That's what they thought. After 6 rounds, his dad, Randy Caballero's dad, said he told Randy he had to get on his bike, he had to box. And that's when he started, because he tried to go to war with me straight away, and after 6 rounds they told him to go on his bike and use his boxing skills because he was a top amateur. And then he started running, do you know what I mean? Started boxing a bit, but it was still a great fight. We still going hell leather in the 12th round. It was a great fight, but up and coming lad, golden boy, politics again. Like, was I ever going to win that fight? Even if I did win it, you know what I mean? I don't think I was. If your name didn't fit.
Yeah, he was a good fight, but it seemed like a real waste of talent. He never even ended up defending the title, and he was plagued with inactivity, and I'm not quite sure where he is now.
I don't even know where he is.
I think he owns no joke. I think he actually owns a barber shop. Funny enough.
Right, never. Crazy, isn't it?
Crazy. But yeah, just, the knockdown, you sort of walked into a jab, you were square on, and then as you walked into the jab, he threw a right just after it, just to kind of add to that momentum. Just sat you down.
Put me down.
Yeah, it wasn't a big knockdown or anything like that. Obviously, after that, you were out of the ring for about 10 months. You returned to winning ways and put together a 4-fight win streak, including 1 win over former world champion Rodrigo Guerrero, before rematching Lee Haskins, who by this point had picked up the IBF Bantamweight world title, your old belt. The outcome this time would be the same as the first one, a points win for Haskins. Talk us through that one, Stuart.
Ridiculous, man. I watched. He fell to the floor with. I've got the picture in my phone. I'll just keep it. I look at it every now and again, mate. He just fell to the floor as if, how have I won this? So thank you, Lord, and all that. Right, when he won that fight, he did 20,000 people in that full arena. Booed the decision when he won, and I should have started screaming straight away, but I didn't. I was like, as soon as they booed, every Sky pundit had me winning the fight on the night. I walked out, and the first person I seen was Rob McCracken. He said, "Stuart, you were robbed. That's a robbery." But obviously, when you've just fought in that, you just think, did I did that? Was a good fight? Did I win? You know what I mean? But everybody was just saying, put it this way, one of my friends, good close friends, was watching the fight at home, and he looked on the online betting, going into the 12th round with Ladbrokes, which is a big, massive betting company. They don't get things wrong. He said I was 1-3 on with Ladbrokes to win that fight, going into the 12th round.
Wow.
Right, so I won the fight, but I didn't. People were telling me, and then again, I went away again 2 days or 3 days later to Dubai for holiday with my family, and I should have really started screaming. Then I might have got a, who knows, I might have got a rematch, but I didn't. I left it for about 10 weeks. Then obviously there was that many people telling me. There was a poll on Twitter. It was about 2,900 people who polled, and 70% of them said I'd won the fight. So it was just so many things. I was like, and then I actually watched it when I got back from Dubai. I watched it. I didn't watch it straight away. I watched it when I got back, and I scored it like it wasn't me. I was just watching the fight, and I won the fight. I think I won the fight by 2 rounds on my scorecard. So then I thought to myself, what can I do here? I got friends with this top solicitor, and I got the solicitor to get in touch with the IBF and try and anyway, he had a friend in the Sun newspaper, a big newspaper, and he put a story in. He got in touch with the IBF and said, look, all these discrepancies, that Stuart won that fight. But they wouldn't overturn it, they wouldn't give me, but I think I left it too long. I think if I did that straight away, I might have got a rematch with him, because I did win. I won that fight. I should have been double world champion. And you know what? It's hard to suck up sometimes when I think about it, but you can't change the past. But you watch that fight, mate. I'm sure you'll think I've won it, because everyone else did, and I did. But on the night, I wasn't so sure. I was robbed it out. You know what I mean? Because you don't really know when you're in there. You don't really, unless you convincingly win the fight, which I did against when I won the world title. I thought I've won this fight. Haskins, I wasn't too sure, because the way he fights, you know what I mean? I'm always chasing him, but yeah, I lost the fight. I think I won 1 round in the first 5 rounds. He won 4, and then after that, I just bossed it all the way through. And then when I watched it, all them Sky pundits, Dave Caldwell said I won it. Adam Smith, who else was commentating? No, Carl Froch had me winning. Malinaji, he had me winning. It was horrible. Because if I won that, the next fight was life-changing money, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it didn't happen, but obviously got it. Haskins would have got life-changing money, paid his house off and stuff, you know what I mean? But it's in the past. There's not what I can do about it now, do you know what I mean? I've just got to stay positive and enjoy my life, whatever it brings.
I remember it being the O2 Arena, obviously, on that Golovkin-Brook undercard was a massive, massive night. I actually remember speaking to Lee Haskins in an interview before that fight, and he must have said this tongue-in-cheek, because it didn't come close to happening, but I asked him his prediction for the fight, and he actually said he was going to get a stoppage within 6 rounds. That was his prediction, if I remember correctly, which obviously no one, I don't think, could have done to you, to be honest, Stuart. You know? No, yeah, but it's so frustrating looking back as well, because I had it in my head that, listen, this for all the way up until in the camp, and everything went brilliant, and I had it in my fight. Look, remember the last fight? You didn't hardly do anything. You just started slow. This fight, go in there. It's a 6-round fight. You've got 6 rounds to win the fight, and I don't know what happened. I went in there and I didn't do anything. My trainer was screaming at me. I started slow again when I should have just went out there, and he was on his last legs in that 12 round when I was putting it on him. But this is the thing, them fights I should have been putting it on him from round 1. I went in there again, I got out, and I didn't leave it all in there. And they're the things what you regret, you know what I mean? I wish I could just have a couple more years in my body, because then I could go back and but like I said, I turned pro at 28. I'm 40 years old now. Your body just packs up, and in the end, it's like you said, it's a young man's sport, isn't it? But I won that fight. It's
just one of them. You've got to suck it up.
Even though you felt like you won that fight, would you say after that you was that perhaps your decline there?
I don't know, because that fight there, I was in such good nick. I just think I should have. Everything went brilliant. Sparring, should have seen me sparring. I was sparring like 8 and 10 rounds. 2 with qualifying and 2 with a tricky opponent. 2 with Carl. 2. I was just in and out. Everything was just I was unbelievable, especially for my age. For my age, I was absolutely unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? I should have just. But I do think I should have challenged that decision straight away, and then things would have been different. But that's all I say. But yeah, after that, I probably was on the decline. You know, I was just probably chasing it after that. That was my trainer, Paddy. He's told me, he said, look, he's been around boxing that long. He's like, that's it now, you know what I mean? You've got now to prove. And he was trying to ask me to retire. But my mind was telling me otherwise.
And you were out the ring for 9 months before returning. Obviously, a win when you returned against Jose Aguilar. And then, of course, came the 2 back-to-back losses, the rematch with Paul Butler, and then a final loss to Gavin McDonnell. If you want to just give us a couple words on either of those fights, and then, of course, your decision to then retire from boxing permanently.
Yeah, well, that Butler fight, right? I had like in that training camp, my left foot and my left shins was like a tingling sensation, as if like shin splints. I thought, was that shin splints? Oh, when I was running and stuff, and I couldn't like nail down what it was. And I was asking Carl and that in the gym, like, it might be shin splints, you know. And so I went to see an osteopath, and he said, look, it might be like some sort of sciatica. You might have a bulging disc or something in your back. So all the way through that camp, and I was having this and then it was going further up my leg, so it was as if it was sciatica. Do you know what I mean? And I'll be honest with you, training was. I was getting in the gym and starting. When I was starting, my shoulders and my legs, I was feeling a little bit tired before I even trained. I wasn't telling anybody this, but I was thinking, wow, my shoulders are hurting, you know. And then that's when I'm thinking in my head, yeah, is this time? You know what I mean? But I was sparring brilliant. Like, I was sparring Cal and Gamal, they're two young tough fighters. I was sparring unbelievable with them. I would believe you me, I was no punch bag in that gym. You can ask them yourself. I was sparring unbelievable, but obviously Paul Butler, he's just a runner for that. He was a runner, but everything was going brilliant. Apart from that little numbness in my leg, it was going all right. But I didn't do my weight so well again. But I wasn't watching. I thought I was losing weight, and I wasn't. And honestly, I crashed a lot of weight towards the end of that. It was ridiculous. Anyway, it was when you seen Jamie McDonald against it was in Inouye. Do you see the state of him on the scales? I'd say I was on par with as bad as him when I got on the scales for Paul Butler the second time. I couldn't even hardly stand up. I did it all wrong. My trainer wasn't happy with me. Do you know what I mean? He knew like, nah, this isn't right. I lost, obviously, the weight. The weight killed me. That was the first ever time I was ever scared to make the weight, and I'd done the weight. I'd done it all wrong. Hands up to myself. But I went in there. I still went in that fight. I still went 12 rounds. I got outboxed. I couldn't. It was one of them ones, a bit like Fair Play from Scott Quinn the other night, where it was, you could see the shots and let him go, and he wasn't letting them go. That was the fight where I couldn't. I would like to say that. I think that was telling me, look, this is the end. But my head was telling me to. But I'd killed myself in the way anyway, so I had no chance of winning that fight. The way I did the way, it was just ridiculous. I'd weighed in and I'd put so much weight back on. It was just dehydrating me. It was just ridiculous. It was the worst. It was so unprofessional what I did. But I lost the fight. Fair play to Butler. Like you said, I was walking him down this time and he was just running away from me. He didn't hurt me once, but the last 3 rounds, I'd say I won them last 3 rounds in that fight, me. And to do what I did to make the weight, to even get through them 12 rounds was amazing anyway. But yeah, that was definitely a decline fight, that.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, you know, a lot of people in that condition wouldn't have gone those rounds. You know, you've always proved your toughness in the ring. Did you want to say a last word on the McDonald fight?
Yeah, Gavin McDonald, another one where I must have been declining because I've sparred Gav. No disrespect to him, I like him. But I remember the first time I sparred him, I thought, I come back around, he sparred me in Birmingham, and I come back at the end of round 2, and I was like to Max, I said, is he going easy on me or what? And then I went out the 3rd round, and he was just exactly the same, and I was thinking, oh my God, he's got absolutely nailed. He couldn't hurt me at all, do you know what I mean? And I went. I mean, this was like, I don't know, was this a year later after the Butler fight or something? By that time, my full left leg was numb, right? Totally, not like totally numb, I could feel it, but I was getting a red hot bath. It was a scald, not bath, get in my left leg. I couldn't feel it. Get my right leg, I was like, it's red hot that. It was that numb, and then the osteopath said, look, you need a scan. So I went and got a scan at the bottom of my back. This was it, going through the training camp for McDonald fight. I went and got a scan at the start. I'd had a scan before the training camp. I had a scan. The bulging disc, no bulging, a slight bulging disc at the bottom. Nothing normal for the age. It was all right. So why is my leg numb? Why is this like nerve damage? No. And I went for another scan of the hips. Specialist said, look, let's get a scan of the hips. So I got a scan of the hips 6 weeks later. No, nothing wrong with the hips. I was like, something is wrong. My leg is numb. It's been numb for over a year. It's still numb now. What is the problem? Do you know what I mean? Then anyway, I got the McDonald fight. When I got the McDonald fight, that's when I got the scan of my full spine. I said, look, can we get one of your full? We need to do a thing of your full spine because there's a problem somewhere. Then we'd got the results back a week before the Gavin McDonald fight. Training had all been going good. I just got used to ignoring the leg. My leg was numb. Sparring, the McDonald fight. I moved up in weight to super bantamweight. I got a new. Done this camp in Darlington because my old trainer Paddy, he was like advising me to not fight. He's saying, look, you Stuart, don't fight. It's over. Do you know what I mean? Just let it go. And I said, no, Paddy, I'm all right. I'm going to do it. Blah blah blah. And he was like, look, well, I don't think you should. And I was like, well, I'm going to train down. And he said, right. We were sound. He's seen the game and he obviously knew I was on the decline. He's like, look, you've got nothing to prove. But then a week before, 7 days, the day after, I'll tell you what, the day after I was sparring Charlie Edwards, and obviously I think, he wasn't a world champion then, I don't think, was he? I think he was going on to, he wasn't a world champion. He'd have been a world champion a couple of fights off, but I was sparring Charlie Edwards the next day, 10 rounds. But then I went and got these results. I walked in and I was like, listen, are you going to give me an injection today and just sort this out? What's the problem? Like, have you got the results? And I was buzzing. Obviously, you would. A week before a big fight at at Newcastle Arena on Sky Sports, I was absolutely buzzing. Do you know what I mean? I was thinking, this is it. It's a must-win fight. Then the bloke said, can you sit down, Stuart? I said, what's the matter? He went, I need to show you something. He said, I'm going to show you now on the screen. That's where the problem is. I had a bulging disc in the top of my neck. C4, C5, I can't remember what they call them, but And he said, that there's your spinal cord. He said, look at that spinal fluid. And he was showing me these pictures of this fluid, what's down. He said, that's fluid there. He said, see there where it's pushing against, there's no fluid. There's no fluid both ends. He said, that is bad. He said, you can't be boxing anymore. This was 7 days. I was sparring Charlie Edwards the next day, 10 rounds. He was coming down Darlington to spar me for 10 rounds. I don't think Charlie's, I think he was, now he knows what happened. He wasn't very happy. I don't think he's very happy with me because obviously I'd found out that news. And he said to me, Stuart, you can't fight. If you get punched in the jaw, you don't even have to get knocked out. He said, trust me, you could be paralysed. He said, with that, he said, we need to operate on this ASAP. Then they need taken out. That spinal cord. He said, trust me. He said, I hope you're listening to me. You can imagine that. I was a week before my last fight. Obviously, that was horrible. I sat down. I was like, I'm going to pull out the fight. He was going, right, I hope you do, Stuart. This is on record now. I've told you this. I hope you listen to me. He said, you can't spar tomorrow. Do not be sparring tomorrow. He said, you cannot be fighting next weekend. I was like, I want to pull out it, but me being me, I was saying that to him because I thought if he rings the boxing board, the boxing board will put a stop to the fight.
Oh my gosh.
I thought, I can win this fight. But I think, do you know what? If I never went and got them results that day, I think I'd have went in there, and I think with the mentality I had, I would have won that fight, you know. And then it's another thing going into a mental thing, right? If I hadn't went and got them results off him, and I didn't know anything, I would have went in there. I was so confident. It was the best I've ever made any title fight in my full career. On the morning of that weigh-in, I had to just get on a bike for 20 minutes and lose half a pound. That is it. That is the best I've ever done. The weight. Every other title fight, I've about to take a good few pound off. You know what I mean? To make bantamweight. That is the best I've ever weighed. The best I've ever felt at a press conference weighing. Do you know what I mean? Before the fight. But anyway, I sparred Charlie the next day. I sparred Charlie 10 rounds, but after what he told me, I didn't spar that well. I just think, and my dad coming actually, he's been from the full career. My dad come watch the spar. After the spar, what was the matter anyway? I said, no, so I've word with your dad now. And then obviously I left, Dad went and that. I'd got in the car with my dad and I said, I told him what the specialist had told me the day before, and he was like, you're going to have to pull out. I went, I'm not pulling out, Dad. He said, I can't believe you've just sparred there. He said, what? I said, Dad, if I hadn't have known about it, I wouldn't know that. And I'd just carry on doing what I'm doing. If I didn't know that was there, and they're saying I could get paralysed, I said, I'm not going to get paralysed. I said, Dad, he's not a puncher. Gavin McDonald's not a puncher. If it was a Carl Frampton or someone who's a known puncher, Dad, trust me, I've got 3 kids, a lovely wife, I'd pull out. And he was like, I wish you hadn't have told me, you know. And he's yelling at me, Dad, I wish you hadn't have told me. So I told him, obviously, I told my wife, she was past herself. But I said, look, just stick by me. But I didn't tell Max McCracken. I didn't tell my trainers. I didn't tell no one. I just kept it to myself. I'd done that was my last spar with Charlie. I didn't spar that well, and then I thought in my head, my back and my neck was hurt, but I think that was placebo because I knew what was going on with myself. And then obviously the night of the fight, but I just think going into that fight, because I knew what I knew, it held me back a little bit in the fight. And the leg, you could see my leg, and I was on the decline. Mentally, I think if I hadn't got them results, I would have won the fight, and it would have been a lot better fight. But I just think, like you said, it comes to an end boxing, and that was my end that night. I still went out 12 rounds. Dave Caldwell said, I'm a freak for my age. That's what he said to me. I'll never forget it. He said, you're a freak for your age, you. That was on the night when and I thought I boxed well, knowing what I'd known. Do you know what I mean? That I known I had to get operated on, which I've been operated on. In all honesty, that was advertised in 2018. I got operated in 2018. My left leg is still numb now. My right side now is worse than before I got operated on. I've actually been back to see the surgeon to say, look, what's going on? And he's saying, everything is happening because it's nothing to do with the surgery. The surgeries went well. The new discs are in, they're in place, everything's all right there. I've been back for another scan, just waiting on the results of that. He doesn't think anything's going to come back out of the surgeon, but he's saying what I can say is my right side now, it's as if it's asleep. I'm not going to say, because my wife, she works in the hospital, she goes, don't say that, you don't say that. Because I put it down as if when someone has a stroke and the one side doesn't work, that's what my right side's like now. I'm functional. I play golf and stuff. I walk about. I train. I've obviously got my little business going. I'm working in schools with kids, training them, and I'm doing really good, enjoying it. So I'm functional, but my right leg, it's as if it's asleep. You know, like it's when I try and balance on it, I'll fall over on it, and I haven't got much grip on my right hand, and I'm right-handed. I can hardly write. If you told me to write an essay now on a book, I'd probably be able to write it, but it'd be a mess because I can't. And then sometimes the pen just gives way. Like I can't grip the pen for long, and that's since the operation, because it wasn't as bad before I had the operation. But so hopefully, like you say, it's a spinal. Obviously, it's a spinal operation, and things take time. So hopefully things get better. I hope they do anyway. But like you say, I'm not young. I'm 40 years. I've pounded my body for the last 10 years now. Most bantamweights are retiring by the time they're 30. Now I was just in my peak, wasn't I? So it's one of them.
No, listen, my fingers are crossed for everything to turn out all right with that. I was going to ask you, Stu, if making a decision to retire was a tough one, but it kind of sounds like you didn't really have a choice in the end, sort of thing.
Nah, do you know? And as mad as I am, I had that operation pretty fast after that fight. I was thinking, get this operation done 6 months later, I'll be able to have a fight again. That's what I was. But I've always been one of these where I said to myself I wouldn't kick the arse out of boxing, and I was on the verge of maybe doing that. But like you say, I've set up a company now. It's called Hall of Famers, and I'm working in schools doing non-contact boxing programs. I'm actually, obviously, look, I'm from a rough background, me. I probably will write a book one day and tell some stories, what people would be amazed of what I've done and what I've been through. But I'm not quite ready to write that yet. I'll write that when I'm ready. But honestly, I've had a crazy life. But I'm on the right path. I'm doing good now. I'm actually working, believe it or not, in a young prison. I'm working doing this program in this prison now, right near me. It's a secure unit for young offenders. I was a little man, my friends. I was a little twat myself back in them days, back in the school days and stuff. And I'm working with a lot of naughty kids as well. But as soon as I start work, like I relate to them straight away. We're like, I don't know, I've got a connection to these kids because I'm from the street. I'm from a rough background. I'm from doing dodgy stuff. I'm from this. I'm from that. And if I can pass over and try and help these kids, which I know I can, it's given me a buzz because I know boxing's finished, boxing's over. But at the same time, I've got to provide for my family as well. So, like you say, but I'm enjoying it. And if you've got a job what you enjoy, it's half the battle, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't like to think I was actually. I tell you what, I was on a roof yesterday because I was roofing back in the British level days. I was roofing, and I mean proper hard graft roofing. I was back on the roof. Not yesterday. Not yesterday. The day before. My lass's dad live around the corner. He's made some pointing done on his ridge tires, right? I thought, I'll do him for it. Being asked me for weeks, I'll do him for you, I promise you. He was at work yesterday, I thought I'll surprise him. I went up, I done 3 hours, honestly, 3 hours on this roof, with my dodgy leg as well. You know what I mean? But I'm not so much the best balancer. But I was up on the roof for 3 hours, and I surprised him when he came home from work. I rang him and said, "Yeah, are you blind, you? Have you not looked outside?" And he's like, because he was in his garden, so he looked at the sky, and he's like, "You've been around doing my child's leg?" I said, "Yeah, I've done them." I said, "Oh, brilliant. But I tell you what, I was absolutely haggard. I was 3 hours on. I was only doing a bit of pointing as well, but I've still got it. But like, I think I'm retired from the ladders again for another few years, because you know what I mean. I could. When you run out of money, which everyone does, money comes, it goes. Imagine me having to get back on the roof now. Do you know what I mean? Doing a job what's tough, or imagine me having to get a job in a factory. Or I'm doing this, giving stuff back to kids and passing on information, passing on things mentally, the mental side of boxing for me. You know, like I've only just realised I could have done with something back then with that. And if I can pass on knowledge now and do some of what I'm enjoying, it's half the battle, isn't it? Like I'm being able to put food on the table for me kids and my wife and do a job what I'm enjoying, and I'm enjoying it. And who knows, I might open a gym in the future. I don't know, you know what I mean? Maybe something I'll look at, but I'm doing something what I enjoy, and that's just half the battle. And boxing give me that. And boxing, like I say, if it wasn't for boxing, trust me, I know a lot of boxers say this, but I would have been in prison, or I could have been dead, without a shadow of a doubt. And boxing just totally saved my life, and I'm so thankful for it. And it's just like you say, it definitely changes lives. And all these bad things what are happening, obviously I know the bad things happening in the world with this virus, but I'm saying like the knife crime and stuff, and it's 100% positive, boxing for helping young kids, without a shadow of doubt. And that's what I'm going to keep on that path.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you, Stu, what are you up to these days? But you've pretty much answered that question without me having to ask it. I want to ask you a couple of sort of quick questions. I'm going to throw 3 questions into one a little bit here. Do you ever miss boxing? And also, did you have any regrets in your career? Perhaps, you know, you'd have liked to fought someone that you didn't get a chance to fight. So kind of 3 questions in one there for you.
Yeah, I miss boxing. Yeah. But I only miss it about it. Like I don't miss it when I'm not talking about it, and I don't miss it when I'm not watching it. And I'm not one of these mad boxing fans that watches the boxing every time it's on and stuff. There's a couple of good fights on what I want to watch, and the regrets. I think I have got regrets. I think the regrets I've got is not being on the scene as much as what I should. Like, and I think. Because when I go to fights now and I'm sitting ringside and I'm watching the fights, I'm like, well, he should be doing this, he should be doing that. And I've been to a couple of shows and you get a proper buzz. But when I was boxing, I wasn't going to them shows as much. I wasn't like, you know, being in the limelight a bit, like getting myself out there, like you know, like when. I know, like Khalifa and Gamal, you see them always on the shows. I go to the odd big show, mate, on Matchroom and that, but I didn't go around the scene as much. I think if I did, maybe I would have had that bit of a buzz to win the fight, and I just stayed away from it, and which maybe apart from when I was training and stuff, I didn't really go on the shows where. That's a regret. I wish I'd gotten around the scene a bit more.
And like I say, was there anyone that you'd have liked to have fought but didn't get the chance to fight?
Yeah, I would have liked to fight James McDonald again. To be honest with you, I wish me and James would have got it on. Maybe if I hadn't got ripped off, I thought I wouldn't have first fought the fight. If I'd have won that. You see, I've been so close to life-changing things, I think, when I look back. Like, if I beat Paul Butler, I think did I have a mandatory to fight Caballero, I would have probably got a because Jamie McDonald won a world title then. I think me and him would have met for a unification. So, but yeah, Jamie, 100%. At that time, though, where we were both right up there, I mean, it would have been, I think that would have been a really interesting fight.
And who would you have said was the best fighter that you fought as a pro? It doesn't just have to be in a fight. It could even be sparring if you liked. But who was the best fighter? Who was the most complete fighter that you boxed?
That's an hard question. That is a very, very hard question.
Sorry.
As in, what do you mean? Like, as in...
I guess
I'd say that
if you threw all of your opponents in some kind of crazy tournament and they all had to box each other, who'd finish? Who'd be the the victor, if you like?
I don't know, because obviously I think Malinga that night was just. I don't think many bantamweights would have beat him that night. I'm not being big-headed now, but I just think, like you said yourself, I was a man possessed that night, and that's what when I look back at it, that's what I think I was. So, but Malinga was a bit, I don't know. Well, you'd probably have to say they're not all round for boxing and movement, and you'd have to say Jamie McDonald, really, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a fair shout.
Yeah,
that's a fair shout.
Yeah, I think Jamie, because he had it all. He could fight, he could move, and he had a real good boxing. Like, Jamie and Jamie McDonald, 100%.
And just coming down to the last couple of quick questions, I want to ask Stu if you've got any advice that you'd give to someone that could be listening to this that could potentially be in the same position you were once in, starting out their boxing journey as a young guy, perhaps not from the most fortunate background. Yeah. What would be your advice to them?
I'd just say, listen, like, if you're on the path of British, European, on like world level, and one, believe in yourself mentally, and if you don't, if you're a little bit like me, I wouldn't say I was that mentally strong. Talk to someone, get somebody to big you up, you know what I mean? Tell you know what I mean? Get somebody to basically big you up and tell you are as good as what you think you are, you know what I mean? Because if you are as good as what you think you are, just believe in yourself 100% and just go and grab it, you know what I mean? And definitely give it 100%, because when boxing's over, which happens to everyone, it will be over, and it goes so fast. Don't take any days for granted, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Enjoy every session. Enjoy every. Sometimes you'd be in a session and you just be like, you're like wishing the week away, but realistically, you should be just going in there, and every hour you're going to train, just give it your life, that every hour, and then you giving it 100%, and you've got the talent and you've got the fitness, you'll win. You'll do it.
And just finally, Stuart, if you've got any closing words whatsoever, if there's perhaps something I haven't asked you, or just if you want to get anything off your chest before the interview finishes, the floor is yours. Say whatever you like before we let you go.
No, I'm just so grateful to boxing itself. So grateful for what boxing has done for me as a person, and me as a life. As when I look back, it's helped me out. You know what I mean? It's helped me out in so many ways. It's given me the opportunities, and it's put me in the record books. It's put me on the right path to meeting the woman I've been with 16 years, married 8 years, maybe 9. She shout at me if I get that wrong, but I wasn't far away. 3 beautiful kids, so you know what I mean? I'm absolutely over the moon with what boxing has done for me, and anyone out there is chasing the dream. Boxing, just keep chasing, you know what I mean? Never give up.
For sure. And like I say, Stu, you know, the work you're doing, you know, right now in the community, going to the prison, doing what you're doing at schools and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable stuff. You know, excellent. Congrats to yourself for doing that. But listen, Stuart, like I say, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you, my friend. Thank you so much for, you know, joining me this time to go through your entire career. It's been a complete pleasure, and I hope that we can speak again in the future, my friend.
Absolute pleasure speaking to you as well, mate. Thank you very much.
Okay, and this wraps up episode 231 of the BoxHard Podcast. I've been your host, Joey Coastman. A massive thank you to my sole guest on this week's show, the former IBF Bantamweight World Champion, Stuart Hall. Like I say, a real in-depth, honest and open interview there with Stuart Hall. A long interview as well, so that's something for you all to listen to in this little dying down / dead period in boxing, where a lot of people are stopping podcasts as well. We've delivered once again. That is for you, the listeners. Like I say, if you've got any topics you want us to discuss on next week's show, please send them in to me on Twitter at BoxHard Podcast. Remember to wash your hands at all times. Thank you all, like I say, once again for listening. Remember to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. We shall see you all again next week. Until then, take care.